But let's now talk about what this really means for our own markets and the domestic cues that you need to track as well before the market open. We have our research team here with the trade setup. Mangalam, Ekta and Surbhi all join me now. Guys, a very good morning to all of you. Ekta, let me come to you first. The handover from the US has been quite positive, but take us through everything we should track because there are a whole host of important domestic cues as well.
Thanks for that. Well, yes, absolutely. So we had the Sensex and Nifty, which closed with minor cuts after what was largely a range-bound session yesterday. The broader markets closed with minor gains as well. We had net the institutions buy because the DII's net bought around 700 crores. FII's net sold close to 500 odd crores. Now, the big cue overnight is that Brent crude has fallen around 4.2%. It's at or $3.57 on an absolute basis. Lowest prices since July. The US markets closed higher. The stocks such as Microsoft are at all-time highs, so the sentiment is positive. Plus Brent crude lower. It's definitely a net positive for us because we are importers of Brent crude. Asia mixed at this point in time. Gift Nifty indicating maybe a flat start. We could probably see consolidation, a positive bias, simply because we have already run up quite significantly from the October 26th lows. Now, in terms of earnings, we have a lot of earnings today, fag end of the earnings season, so a lot to watch out for. Bata, Lupin, Pidilite, United Spirits, PI Industries are just to name a few. Nifty levels to keep a track on: the 20 DMA 19,411, the 100 DMA 19,455, and the 50 DMA, which is at 19,560.
All right, those are some important levels to track. Ekta, thanks a lot for getting us all of those cues. Let's also talk about the individual stocks that are going to be in focus today. Surbhi is here with that list. Surbhi, the last of the big earnings coming through.
That's right, it's a long list. First, let's start with Shree Cement. It was mostly an inline set of numbers. Revenue at 4585 crores, EBITDA at 870 crores, and margins at 19% versus our poll of 19.6%. Cummins, it was a margin-led beat. Revenue was down nearly 3%, EBITDA was up 17%, and margins were up nearly 300 basis points. IRCTC, revenue up 24%, EBITDA up 20%, and PAT up 30% on a year-on-year basis. Deepak Nitrite, it was a good set of numbers. Revenue down 9%, but EBITDA up 11% and margins at 17% versus 14% same time last year. Apollo Tyres, the numbers are slightly below our poll. Revenue up 5.4%, EBITDA up 63%, and margins at 18.5% versus our poll of 17%. Hindalco will also be on our focus radar today because of the Novelis numbers. The numbers were good. The volumes have improved sequentially, and EBITDA per ton is back to $500 sooner than what it had guided. There will be some other companies reacting to numbers like Balrampur Chini, Stovecraft, Greaves Cotton, and Medani, just to name a few.
Okay, that is a long list of stocks. Surbhi, thanks a lot for taking us through all of that action. But finally, let's talk about cues from the futures and options space as well. Mangalam is here with that. Mangalam, we did close at the high point of the day and above that 19,400 mark as well.
Yes, the last tick was actually in the green. Had it not been for the averaging of the last 30 minutes, the Nifty would have actually closed in the green itself. A 100-point recovery is what we saw from the lows. And this morning, we're coming in with good global cues and global setup as well. The important part in yesterday's trading session was the Nifty Bank's recovery. For most part of the day, it was the Nifty Bank which was underperforming. And in the last hour, you see the Nifty Financial Services and the Nifty Bank, both of them leading the markets higher. It was the Nifty Financial Services expiry as well. Now, for the second day running, the Nifty has closed virtually at the 20-day moving average. The day before yesterday, it was 19,411. Yesterday, it was 19,406 itself. We also saw thinning of FII selling in the cash market, so they sold just sub 500 odd crores. And while they bought around just 125 crores in index futures, remember they've been covering a lot of their short positions. And yesterday as well was no different. They covered about 2,500 short positions, as a result of which their short exposure still at 80% with long exposure at 20% too. On the option side, the active option on the Nifty is 19,450. The Gift Nifty is indicating a positive start. So, levels around that 19,500 mark is something that we'll watch out for. 19,550 call also is in focus, as if the Nifty crosses past the 19,500 mark comfortably, we can see further short covering, and it could take the market all the way up to 19,600, 19,700, and we've seen some punt buying at the 19,850 call as well. But there is firm support at lower levels. 19,250 put, for instance, has seen a lot of writing as well. The Nifty Bank will be the most important thing to watch out for because yesterday it bounced off the 200-day moving average, conquered the 20-day moving average, and today is Nifty Bank weekly options expiry, where you have room all the way up to 44,100 thereabouts, and at the lower level there is strong support at 43,500 itself. In terms of stocks, two kinds of stocks I'm watching out for. One, a big mover yesterday was Trent after strong results. A lot of long positions added out there. Let's see how the follow-up on that stock is. And secondly, a lot of long positions added on HPCL and IOC post their results. So let's see how the refiners play out as well. And we have the overnight decline in crude. So we see further upside on all these refiners.
All right, that'll be interesting to track. Mangalam, thanks a lot for getting us all of those cues. With that, it is time for a short break. But like we've been pointing out, the big cue, the big trigger for our own markets is that we've seen a 4% cut in crude prices overnight. We're going to tell you why and which way prices could be headed when we come back.